Hey everybody, John here. I have a really great DIY video that everybody needs to do for their Tesla. I don't care who you are, this is necessary. So what will happen is over time, your radiator, believe it or not, your Model 3 or Model Y, Model X, Model S, it doesn't matter what car you have, it has a radiator that has condenser coils, and over time it collects a bunch of debris like leaves and dust and stuff. It just gets stuck inside of there. And this is not part of the regular maintenance that I've seen, at least in the manual, but it's something I learned through a friend of mine. He said, hey, you should probably check this out. After about 3.5 years, I went in and checked, and I had a lot of stuff built up inside of there, and I removed it out of there. Now at the 5.5 year mark, I decided to do it again, and I had a lot of extra stuff in there after just 2 years. I was like, holy cow, this is a lot of stuff. So what it does is it slows down the fans, and it limits the airflow inside of your cabin. So the air conditioner is not going to blow as much as it did originally. Same for the heating. It just reduces the efficiency of the fans because there's a lot of debris blocking the airflow. And really that's the main issue with this. And it's just going to draw more current from your battery and just slow things down. So definitely recommend taking a look in here. Now you are going to need a couple things. First of all, you're going to remove the frunk. And I'm not going to elaborate how to do that. That process can be found anywhere online, and every car is a little bit different, but it's pretty straightforward. There's a series of screws that you remove using a 10mm socket wrench, and once you get that out, you're going to then access this plastic unit. Most videos will show you how to unclip the front piece. Some of them will have you take off the whole bumper. My video does not get into that here today. That's way too involved. This is a quick thing. I mean, it's probably going to take you a half hour, maybe an hour at most to do this. It's an easier way. However, this video has an extra step that most other videos don't go over. It's an extra clip that you can remove to get even better access to the radiator coil. So this, I think, is going to be really helpful for everybody, and I think you'll be really surprised how much stuff you're going to find inside of there. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the process. Tools that you're going to need: that 10mm socket, as well as a shop vac. You're going to need a strong vacuum with a hose adapter, and that adapter has to be kind of a longer hose. You don't want to damage the coils. I'll show you how I created my own. You might have to get a little bit creative on your side, but all said and done, it really requires basically just that. You're going to need like a wedge or something. I recommend using a screwdriver. You'll see how I use that here coming up. So this is the front end module, and there's several tabs here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tabs. You're going to very gently release these one by one, and be careful so they don't break off. It could be brittle if you've had your car for a long time. So just remove one at a time and be very careful. You're probably going to need 2 hands for this. And you're going to see these right down here. So there's this release point here. You can pinch it in and it will pop out. And then on the left as well, there's 2 little things right there. Pinch these in, it will release that and allow you to pull it up. Now let's take a look. This is not all of the places to remove. This is where a lot of the other videos fall short. They say, okay, that's good, you're ready to go. Now if you wanted to take the whole thing off, you'd have to get all the way underneath here, remove the entire front bumper, and that's just way too much effort than it's worth. But the extra clip is all the way down inside of here, and I'll show you that in just a second. Before we remove that extra clip, let me show you what it's actually doing. So inside of here, you can see we've got quite a bit of debris here on the top that's trapped. You want to be very careful when you're cleaning this that you don't damage the coils, because they can bend, and you don't want that because that will actually reduce airflow. You can see on the top, that's easy to clean. What becomes challenging is deep on the inside there.
You can see I've got quite a bit down below there as well. Hard to zoom in. There we go. So you can see there, and then also further down, the top portion looks pretty clean. But the real challenge is, look at that right there, some leaves stuck there. All that can come out. But the real challenge is there's a filter, that piece right there, that's what we need to loosen to get down in there even better. So let me show you what you can do here. You're gonna see down in here, there's an extra little clip right here. So I'm going to undo that right now. I'm just gonna push in, and this whole plastic piece right here is gonna come up. So this thing comes loose. Now let me show you what happens here. This top portion comes up, but now in addition, you can pull this piece up. Look at that. So now you can really reach in there. The challenge is, how do you keep that open while you're cleaning? And I found a little trick to that as well. What you need to do is get a screwdriver and pull this open, and then pull this open like this, and you can use the large side of it, and look how much stuff is in there, and just jam it all the way down there. Now it's hands-free and you can clean really, really nicely.
I created a kind of like a hose unit out of a cardboard tube. I just cut it off, probably a little bit too long actually for this one, and I use a hammer to kind of narrow it at the end. After that, you should be all set. So there was a cicada inside of there. There was a cigarette butt. I had a ton of leaves, a lot of debris. So it definitely was in need of it after just a year and a half. If you've had your car for more than that and you've never cleaned that area, definitely I recommend getting in there. And if we take a look here just to see the after, you can see it's pretty clean now. There's not much in there. I'm gonna try to zoom in, see how clean that is. All the way in there now, I don't have any debris. I should have zoomed in a little bit closer earlier, but man, there was a ton of junk in there. I was surprised how much came out. So now that that's done, we can just take our screwdriver out. And then once you remove your little wedge, you can press that back unit back in place. There, it just snapped in place. And then this is pretty straightforward. We just want to make sure that these clips on the top are all above the unit. And then again, we have that secure point here on the right, and then also on the left. So I'm going to start on the left, press that in, so it snaps in place. Also on the right, press that in, snaps in place. And then on the top, just we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Great. And that's a wrap. Hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully you guys can replicate this same process. Really curious to hear what you find in your radiator. Hopefully you don't have any cicadas and cigarette butts in there. Maybe you'll have some other things in there though. Definitely some insects and leaves, for sure, definitely. It depends on how many miles you've driven, I suppose. I keep mine in my garage. That's the crazy part, and it still has all that stuff in there. It really has to do with just driving, you know, just regular, everyday driving. See you guys.